Hello and welcome back to another video in World Traveler Cooking. Today we're going to make Bubur Ayam. Now if Rommegrot is the queen of porridges, Bubur Ayam has to be the king. This is a congee based rice porridge with a savory broth and a bunch of goodies on top. It's a delight to eat, and I think if you try this you will like it too. It's not too much work to make despite the complexity of the ingredients. So keep this in mind, and yeah, you can definitely use a food processor instead of an ulek. I think today I will probably use a food processor. So going through our ingredients, we have a cup of rice soaked in water overnight, plus 1 leaf of daun salam. You could use a bay leaf instead. We have 300 grams of chicken. We will also add to the rice 1 liter of water. We have some powdered chicken stock. I think this time I have mushroom stock, but you can use whatever. Salt. Use a tablespoon of salt with the rice and some more salt with the sauce. A stalk of lemongrass. About 2 centimeters, maybe a little more, of turmeric. Same amount of galangal. If you can't get the galangal, I guess you can probably omit it. I have 8 of these small Indonesian shallots. If you're using European shallots, maybe use 2. 6 cloves of garlic. And that'll be the basis for the sauce, along with the a little bit of the chicken. The rest of the chicken will be served on top, along with optionally some peanuts. Chakwe, I have a video on how to make these. And crackers. You can use whatever kind of crackers you want. You can also use, but these ones are made out of vegetables. These are sort of the traditional ones to use. Sometimes people use like fried, basically they're like pork rinds but made with beef skin. Those can be good. You could even probably just put some crisped up chicken skin on top if you like. We'll also top it off with a little bit of soy sauce and some sambal. The sambal traditionally is made with red chili peppers, garlic, and water. And basically just blend those together into a paste. At any rate, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start by cooking my rice. So this rice had been just put in a bowl with enough water to cover it overnight. So this was 1 cup of water, and 1 cup of rice and just enough water to cover it. To this I'm going to add 1 bay leaf. I'm going to add like a 1/4 teaspoon to 1/2 teaspoon of powdered stock. I'm going to add teaspoon to a tablespoon, so a big heaping teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to add 1 liter of water. Now we will turn this on to cook. And we'll stir it occasionally. And we'll cook this to make a porridge, a congee. So while the rice is cooking, we will take our turmeric and our Ayams, and we will crush them together. And I was going to use a blender, but it's occurring to me that a garlic press would probably work just as well. So that turmeric went through the garlic press very nicely. I'm just going to start to do all the rest of this. As you can see, the garlic goes through nicely. The shallots, if you're using European shallots, I suppose you'll need to cut them up a little more. But they go through okay too. And what doesn't go through gets crushed, comes out the other side, which is fine. And we're just going to go through, press all of these through. And I'll be back when this is done. And then one thing I forgot is some coriander. I should probably crush this. I'm just going to take some coriander like this, I'll crush it, I'll add it in also. So one thing about the garlic press is it doesn't completely break everything up as well as I would like. That's fine though. I'm going to go ahead and cook the spices a bit before I add the chicken. Not everybody does, but I think that's a good place to start. And I'll add the salt and the pepper at this point also. So I'm adding white pepper. I suppose you could add black. And I'm just going to keep stirring this around a bit. The idea is just to let everything cook a bit, let the flavors mix. Then we'll add the chicken and the water. I usually just cook it until it's fragrant. It's already starting to get fragrant, so I'm going to add my chicken in a moment and the water. So I like to take the chicken and just set it on top of the spices and then flip it over. Goal is to get just a little more of that spice flavor into the chicken itself. Then I'm going to add maybe a liter of water. We'll go from there. And in this case I forgot to add one more daun salam, the stalk of lemongrass, and the piece of galangal. And these should probably have been bruised. I'm going to pull these out and bruise them. Put them right back in. 1 second. So I've now bruised the galangal, or rather smashed it up a little bit. You can see it's squashed a bit. Now I'm going to do the same with the lemongrass. I'll put it right back in, and we'll let this continue to come to a boil. Everything's in now. We're just going to let this come to a boil. And if it's boiling around the outside, that's still not a boil. I want it to boil like all the way, and then once that's done, we take the chicken out. And so here we have the assembled dish. We have shredded chicken, we have chakwe sliced into rounds, we have some peanuts, some crackers, and some green onion on top. You can also add sweet sauce, soy sauce, salty soy sauce, and sambal if you like, but I'm not going to do those today. So, on to the taste test. And now for the taste test. First I'm just going to try some of the porridge and the broth. The broth is amazingly fragrant, full of aromatics. It's quite wonderful. I'm going to try this with the chicken now, too. I also got a peanut there, too. The thing about this is, congee by itself doesn't have much texture. And so adding the chicken and the peanuts, the broth gives it a wonderful aromatic flavor, but the peanuts and the chicken give it the texture. This is sort of a festival of flavors and of textures. When you add the crackers do get a bit soggy, but they retain some crunchy pieces. And that adds more texture. Same thing with the bread. The chakwe. Try a bit of chakwe here. The chakwe actually adds both flavor and texture, unlike, interestingly enough, the chicken or the crackers. This dish is a symphony of flavors, a festival of flavors. It is just a masterpiece all around. It's one of my favorite dishes in Indonesian cuisine. It's not that hard to make. You've got to try it. Now, if you find this content interesting, please like, share, and subscribe. In addition, if you make this sort of dish, you do it a bit differently, I'd love to hear how you do it differently. This sort of exchange is always great in terms of helping all of us become better cooks. Any other comments you'd like to make are also quite welcome. At any rate, recipes in the description. Bon appetit, and see you next week.